So let's talk about these kids. How old would these children be in this picture? Looks like
This
pretty
little girl,
young.
I think, is 4 years old.
So preschooler.
She is there with one of our instructors, Ron Ketty, who is also well known in this area. He's
Sure.
a fire safety instructor and a great guy, loves kids. So I believe that was our grand opening day.
Okay.
And that is actually his granddaughter.
All right, so we could have children from Chautauqua Lake sitting here where we are right now. They get on a bus and they come to your program and they sign up ahead of time for a program. For
They do.
instance, fire safety. We
Right.
saw a picture of, looked like somebody on the floor. What were they doing?
That was a picture of our instructor demonstrating the proper technique for stop, drop, and roll.
Okay, the ones we always hear about when we were growing up too.
Right.
Okay.
But to describe further that fire safety
Sure.
class, the children come in and we have a Sparky's Hazard House, which is kind of a dollhouse type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's dissected so the children can see into every room of the house, and it sparks and smokes and
Oh my gosh,
buzzes.
the kids you must just draw them right in like flies. I bet.
Exactly. And but Kathy goes through a story and tells about this family that lives in this house and how a fire starts in their home, and then we go through each of the rooms and demonstrate how you would get out of this home.
Well, there's an example right there. We see a
Right.
little girl coming down a ladder.
A ladder, yes. So once we're done in the classroom, we take them into this setting. It is kind of a mock apartment or mock home, and it has a kitchen, it has real appliances, there's a bedroom and furniture and so forth, and we take them first into the kitchen area and talk about some safety things there. But as part of a skit that Kathy goes into, she puts her pot holder that she's making macaroni and cheese on the stove, and she turns around to talk to the kids and puts her pot holder too close to the stove, and it actually catches on fire.
Oh my gosh.
So we have simulated smoke that begins to fill the room.
What happens? Do the kids get scared?
Well, it certainly catches their attention.
All right.
We kind of prep them for it, especially the younger kids, and let them know ahead of time that this is practice.
that's
Everything
good.
we're doing here is practice. So they're a little bit prepared for it. But so when they see the smoke come into the air, it does open their eyes quite a bit. And Kathy said, okay, now we just discussed this in class. What do we need to do? And the kids then say we need to stay low below the smoke. So we have everybody get down on their hands and knees. And we actually have them, once they're down there, take a look above them, because you can see the smoke hover in the air and smoke rises. So we teach them that the clean air is low below the smoke, and that's why they get on their hands and knees.
You know, if we think about this, for those who are watching right now, think about the kind of training we got. What training? What kind of things did we hear about? We would hear about these things, or the teacher would put on some 16 millimeter on those real tick, 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 tick things,
Right.
and they would tell us about these things, or they would say, don't do this, or, you know, Smokey the Bear or whatever. And these things were like out there, can't happen to us, and also very flat, two-dimensional. But imagine a child actually going into a situation where they can go through a simulation. And I'm going to tell you a quick story. I remember being very, very proud. Okay, we have a caller, and we'll get to you in just a second. I remember being very proud that I was going to learn how to cook, and my mother and father were in the other room or something like that, and I decided I was going to cook on the old electric stove. And I turned on the stove. I was going to make eggs. I remember that was my first meal I ever cooked, scrambled eggs. And this is, you say, why am I telling this story? Because I want grandparents to listen to this one, especially when we're babysitting. I remember saying, wow, I don't know if the oven's on. So what do you think I did? Or not the oven, but the stovetop. I put my hand right on the thing and just, you know, blistered my hand. So I learned the lesson from that point on. Unfortunately, the hard way, and children often, or especially with gas ranges, where the open flame, to get their shirts and things caught on there. So think about that. Not so much don't tell them not to do it, but show them how to do it correctly. Okay, we got a caller. Good morning.
Morning. A different voice today.
Yes, this is John Hamels. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. First of all, I just want to say that in our little community of Westfield, things are perking right up. School started and so forth, and we have a dance company here that my grandbabies go to, and they're about ready to start up too. The Mr. and Mrs. Bishop run it, and it's wonderful. Sure. And anybody who has a child that's thinking about dancing should think about going there, because it's really nice. And I I also have a question for your guest.
Okay.
How did you get into? Whose idea was this to have this thing to teach children about safety and so forth? And how did you get into it?
As far as her personally, or just?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Terry.
Well, I've worked with children, all my career, mostly in the aspect of nursing, and so also teaching many, more healthcare related type issues. But as I said earlier, I became involved with the village about 5 years ago, and really loved what they were teaching the kids, loved the hands-on opportunities that they were getting, to teach them how to be safe in their own home and environment. So I don't know if that answers your question completely.
Yeah, I know in Westfield we have the firemen have a safety thing that they run for the children and teach them how to get out of the house safely in case they have to, I can't remember what they call it. I know you got to get down low and crawl out.
Drop.
Right.
And drop. Yeah, that's something about that.
Stop, drop, and roll.
There you go. Thank you.
I'm here to serve.
I never took the course, obviously, but I know it. I think it's a wonderful thing to teach children, things like that, because you never know. You just absolutely never know when it might save their lives, and
That's
there's
right.
nothing more precious than them grandbabies' lives.
You bring up a great thought for me is a lot of times as grandparents, we babysit, and do we show them, those grandchildren, how to get out of our homes? We always tell the parents to have their plans and have their safety, but a lot of times our grandkids are with us. For instance, my granddaughter's going to be over tonight, and we should
Mine is too.
teach them the safety of our own homes, not just the ones that they live in on a regular basis.
Right.
So, anything else, caller?
That's about. I do have a hint though. We never had to use them, but we lived in a 2-story house, and I made sure that the 2 bedrooms that were upstairs each had a little suitcase that you put like under the windowsill, on the floor next to the window, and in them were portable ladders.
All right.
That thank God we never had to use them, but they were well worth the little investment into them, because they could easily have saved somebody's life, especially if you're on the second floor of a house.
Excellent comment.
So if you want to get your children something unusual for a gift, you better get them something they like too, because they won't think much of it. But believe me, it might be the best gift they ever get in their lives.
And when they're 18 years old, they can use it to elope.
That's true.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Dual purpose. There you go.
All right, caller. Well, thanks for calling in.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, and those of you who are still watching with us, feel free to give us a call.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too, Terry.
Bye-bye.
She came up with a suggestion about the ladder. I think
Absolutely.
that's a good segue for you. What do they have those kinds of
definitely.
things at the village?
We do, and we show the demonstration ladder that we have right there at the village, that the kids climb out a bedroom window.
Okay, hang on, we got a picture of that, Randy. Do we?
We do.
Do you have that? Maybe you can zoom in on there. There you go. Perfect. Oh, this guy's good. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's great.
So why don't you describe the scene there?
Well, what you're seeing is, to back up a little bit, when we were in the kitchen with the children, we have the smoke. They get on their hands and knees, and they are climbing into the bedroom area. There's a custom-made door that heats up. So initially, they're going to want to go out the door. When they touch that door with the back of their hand, they feel that it's warm to touch.
All right, wait a minute. You got a door that gets hot?
We do.
Well, how's
We
that
do.
work? It's like,
I don't know how it works, but like I said, it's custom made, and it
special.
actually
How cool is that?
actually heats, so that when they feel it, they know that they can't open that door, or it's going to suck in the flames or the smoke
Okay.
into that room. So then we talk about another means of exit, and then we have the window there. It's a regular size window, just like you would have in your own home. We have the escape ladder, which is exactly the type that you would get at Home Depot or Walmart.
just like our caller was saying.
Exactly.
Great idea.
So, because we want them to feel what it would be like to actually have to do that.
Yeah.
It's an unstable ladder. It's has canvas straps, so when you're coming out, it's wiggly, and it is frightening for some of the kids. But that's reality. That's how it would be if they had to actually do that.
When we think about that, so many times people don't have these ladders, and what are we telling the kids? Jump, you know, and they're not going to jump. But if they had that ladder, you could actually talk them through 1 foot at a time, 1 step at a time.
Yes.
So folks, that's a great idea. That's something we all should have in our homes.
Yeah. And it's the experience of it. Once they've done it, they're going to remember what to do in that situation if it happens in their own home. And so everything we do at the Children's Safety Village is hands-on. I know that they teach a lot of these things in the schools, and that's great. Our curriculum follows that, which they teach in the schools.
Like in the New York State curriculum?
New York State, yep, the Michigan model,
Awesome.
or Growing Healthy model. So our curriculum lines with theirs, and it kind of is a it's repetition. So learning it in the classroom, and then they come to the village and they can actually experience it. And that's the part that they kind of miss out in the classroom. The teachers do a great job teaching it. The fire instructors do a great job coming to the schools and talking about it.
Sure.
And then we try to enhance all of that by letting them come to the village and actually experience it.
Just a question. Is the Safety Village open like every day?
It is every day, yep. We have classes booked most every day. We have a morning session and an afternoon session. All the classes are scheduled though, so that we have our instructors there and to have the kids go through the program.
Now, I know that a lot of times viewers will call here and they'll want to know what's going on or how can they see this or whatever. Are there, and we'll get back to the programming, but I was just thinking, how do our grandparents get to see this village? I mean, if I was a grandparent, I'd love to.
Yeah, absolutely. We have people stopping in all the time. They just want to know what it is, what it's about, and can we walk through your village, and absolutely.
Okay, so where is it? How do we get there?
It is, the actual address for your GPS is 2695 Route 394 in Asheville. But for those in the community, you might better recognize Hughes Educational Center, better known as BOCES. Right. We share the same parking lot as BOCES. They are on the left, and the Children's Village is on the right. We're all enclosed in a black fence, and you see all the little buildings there. You can't miss it.
Okay, so if you're coming from Mayville, you come down 394 going towards Jamestown. It's on the right, and there's a fork in the road, so you got to veer off a little bit to the Hughes Center, and you go in the driveway, and there it is, right? So,
correct.
So folks, what time do you open? Like 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock,
okay, until about 3, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're in the area, going shopping or whatever, or just out looking at the fall foliage, check out the Safety Village when you're out there.
We love to have people stop in.
All right, so we talked a little bit about fire safety. What other things do you
Yes.
teach there? I mean, this is pretty comprehensive, it sounds like.
Yeah. So on the other side is bicycle and traffic, and everything, our curriculum is all age appropriate, so it depends on what the kids will be doing when they come. But at the first and second grade level, we teach them about sign recognition, rules of the road, crosswalk where you cross the street. Soon we're going to be getting a stoplight so the kids can actually learn how to cross a street safely.
Now, let me jump in on this. I live in the town or village of Ripley, and we have one stoplight. And unless you go into the town, and people say, well, all you got to do is go into town. But a lot of our children don't ever necessarily walk in town because their parents drive them or they're on the school bus. But there is always that opportunity when they have to visit with their little friends after school or whatever. And this is not something that you just like are born with. You got to understand how to use this a stoplight. You know, what is yellow, green, and red, and all that stuff. So, so that's a great thing.
Yep.
All right. So traffic safety.
Yep. And then we. Once they learn it in the classroom setting again, and then we take them out into the village to experience it. So I think we had a shot up earlier of some of the little cars. The kids love this part. They actually get to drive a car in a village, but they have to...
This is like a motor car?
These are electric. Battery-powered cars.
So it's the wave of the future, electricity, electric cars. Okay.
Yep.
So no pollution here, folks.
Right. So they get to drive the cars in the village, but they have to obey the stop signs. And
now, it looks like there's a police officer in that photo. Who is that?
That is Officer Benny.
Officer
And
Benny.
the kids will definitely recognize that name, that face. He is our instructor for the traffic and bike side.
So folks, if you're having